kicked off.
Full send.
Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to Rise Up After Dark. Today is Wednesday, January 8th. It's the first After Dark of the new year. Is it?
Bullish. No.
It's not.
It's my first.
It's not.
After Dark.
The first. It's Will's
We had
first.
Lindsay. She was so good, man. I
Yeah.
just forgot it. But
That
Will,
was the
it was
first
not the same as
episode of the entire year was an After Dark.
Wow!
That's
Wow!
right.
Wow!
That's right, it was. Well, if you're just seeing us for the first time, this is the once weekly After Dark show where we let our hair down as crypto investors, folks who work creating content or building or making relationships in the industry. We have expert guests on to research altcoin picks from the Rise Up Discord server or talk about what our guests do. And if you want to play along, then hey, before we get started, check out the Discord. It's totally free. It's on the screen here on TikTok, and it's on the screen here everywhere else. Welcome to our friends on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're so glad that you're here tonight. And we will play the game we always play with Nathan. I'm going to introduce him in a second, but I'm going to give you the rules, which is when you hear this sound, that means somebody got a point. The person with the most points at the end of the night wins a fabulous.
I didn't hear that sound very
there's a
clearly.
sound.
I just
Get the
assumed
ding.
I was going crazy and there was no noise.
Nope, there's no ding.
I hear your button. I hear this very soft ding.
Oh, what about now?
It's only coming out of the phone. It's not. We don't have it in StreamYard. Actually, okay, wait. This sound issue has happened before,
Shame.
Evan.
I know
I
what it
think-
is.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, you read my mind. You got it. No,
You got it?
Did
no,
you
get
I
it
said
down?
you did. You did not get it. Everyone can
Wow.
hear it on TikTok, but no one, Twitter and YouTube and Facebook, none of them are getting it.
Oh no, I'm so sad to hear that. I've got the sound routed. I don't know what to do.
Check your
friends.
look at
I
the
had to
look
go
at
and get
did
my
StreamYard
Is it
kinda-
plugged in? Try turning it off and turning it on again.
no look at did StreamYard rug you on your inputs because I'm pretty sure I'm hearing your computer microphone and not your fancy one right now. It's-
Well, fine.
Ooh,
Okay.
good call.
Listen, let me keep as long as you can hear me. I will. No, you got my default mic. Let me try this.
It doesn't sound as crispy.
Audio
No, it's
video
nothing.
equipment is the most confusing
Do a
thing
test
to work
check.
with.
there you go.
Oh,
That's
there
it.
you go.
That's it.
2.
Dig it.
Ooh.
Ding it.
There
ding it
we
again.
go. You got the crispy mic. In which case, I
Yeah.
will say, ding.
Now we got it.
And I
There
will
it
also say
is.
for our
Yeah,
friends
now
on
take your shirt
Facebook,
off.
welcome to the. Jesus. Welcome to the show. Let me
We got it.
reset this thing.
We're back.
Okay, great. We're back. And we're live with Nathan, aka DeFi Daddy. We're going to be researching altcoin picks so that you can see how to do your own crypto research from many different perspectives. We're taking token picks from our Discord and from our guests tonight. If you want to jump in, it's discord.gg/riseup. And really quickly about the points, I do assign the points, Alex, but
Don't come for me.
I have never won this game. It's not because I'm not a great player. It's just because we have great guests. So
I will
You're too tough on
absolutely not.
yourself.
too tough on myself. Without further ado, our guest is DeFi Daddy, aka Nathan, aka Decentralized Daddy. Welcome to Rise
Decentralized Father.
Up
Father.
After. Oh yeah, Decentralized Father. To Rise Up After Dark.
Decentralized father.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to get to brass tacks, talk some
Yes.
alpha, talk some useful information that is, of course, perhaps actionable if it fits your risk appetite. And I think this will be a constructive session to kind of demonstrate what crypto research looks like in action and how we all kind of perceive the market, because I think we're at a bit of an inflection point, both in terms of price action, but also in terms of narratives and niches that crypto investors can find themselves in. So I'm looking forward to it.
100%.
Mhm.
I'm going to give you a point right off the bat.
Son
let you
of
know-
a
The
bitch.
one- I know, right? The one thing I forgot to mention was we're going to give grades to these tokens after we take a look through them. We want you to give your grades in the audience. Let us know if it's an A, B, C, D. Meaning, would you spend more time, money, attention researching this token? Or you can be like Alex and give it a grade like, or just no.
Yes.
That would be acceptable too. And at the end of the
Yes.
night, we're going to pick our favorites.
I rate
Um,
on a scale of to yes.
Exactly. What could go wrong? Nathan, you submitted a couple of tokens. Do you want to maybe get started with these from the Hyperliquid ecosystem, including Hype Token? We talked about maybe going through the AI agent thesis. We definitely want to get your take on it because we've had hot takes and a lot of attention. And then we'll see where the evening takes us. Will, your whiteboard's going to be busy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess just to start off, my question would be maybe to the audience as well as the fellow wonderful men that I have with me here. What is your guys' familiarity with Hyperliquid? Have you guys used it? Did you guys own the
I have not.
token?
I
I've just
have
heard of it.
considered using it.
Yes.
I know about the airdrop, and I would like you to
Yeah.
explain it to our audience like they don't know about it, because that'll be helpful.
Sure. So Hyperliquid is a decentralized exchange. It offers both spot and futures. Its futures is kind of their primary product that it offers right now. You can access up to 100x leverage. And one of the things that the community really likes about this is that they move quickly with listings. So because it's a decentralized exchange, they don't have to go through as many regulatory loopholes to get stuff listed. And so, for example, Pengu, they listed futures within 3 hours of the spot market listing.
Whoa.
So their community quite likes that.
Yeah.
They have a token. It's called Hype. And they airdropped 30% of it away to their community for early adopters.
Wow.
That
Lovely.
airdrop, as of right now, is worth about $2 billion.
And that was people who used the protocol, right? Who were doing lending, staking, etc., swapping.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
people who used the protocol before it had a token. That
Yeah.
pre-TGE phase where you engage in the protocol, you get some points, maybe it alludes to something in the future. And then they had their TGE, I think on November 28th was the magical day.
Yeah,
TGE
because
is
their
a token
TV
generating event. Go ahead.
Yeah, their TVL started popping off November 29th. So the amount of money being, kind of flowing in and out in their decentralized exchange. So that makes sense. So yeah, if you were playing on that as far back as April 16th, it looks like, you got a nice payday.
If you traded the first season, which was from April to June, your airdrop, the last time I looked, it was worth over $2.5 million US. In terms of their incentivization, because it was like there was like really early users, there was early users, and then there was like the normal crowd. They kind of tranched it based on when you started engaging in the ecosystem.
Jeez.
But from a business development perspective, there's a couple of things that I really like that they've done. They've built, I would say, far alone the best product in DeFi with zero venture capital funding.
Yeah, I did not know
So
that's nice.
that they were bootstrapped.
They're bootstrapped, ground up. They owe VCs nothing. So they have complete accountability for their own product, which I think is a really powerful idea in crypto these days, because I mean, we all know this. You have to pay attention to vesting schedules, and you know that the incentives of the venture capitalist and the incentive of the community are not necessarily aligned.
Yeah.
Pretty
Rarely.
well-known crypto phenomenon.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I really like that they did to help build them a very strong moat is they are not doing any OTC deals with exchanges. There is no private placement for exchanges. They are not paying for exchange listings. So if you want to trade Hyperliquid, you have to do it on the Hyperliquid app.
So they're capturing all those trading fees, all that attention, and a lot of whales prefer to trade OTC. So this is like not an insignificant sum of money if people want to use that protocol.
Exactly. And it also sends the message to exchanges that if they want to use it, they have to buy it themselves. And that's exactly what a couple of exchanges have done, like KuCoin and BitGet.
Mhm.
And so like that in itself kind of adds more buying pressure, because I think Hyperliquid is like top 40 crypto assets with huge trading volume. And so that just gives more back to the community, because the exchanges have to buy it.
Go ahead, Bo.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, like, this is nuts for it to be at a $7.6 billion market cap, the coin, not the project, the coin, Hype. And yet for a centralized cryptocurrency exchange that has like any kind of real weight to it, I see KuCoin. And it's also on BitGet. That's where most of the volume is. But like, that's kind of crazy.
Right? Dude, like
Yeah,
that
nuts.
is very substantial.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, those are big numbers. So when I heard about it, it was the summertime, and people were farming stable coins there. There was a popular creator here who was broadcasting one of the better plays, which was staking, I think it was USDC on Arbitrum for like 40%. It might have been Tether. And honestly, I remember looking at it and being like, this seems pretty well collateralized. This seems like a really great protocol, and seeing everybody that I respected in the DeFi space talking about it at that time. I don't like to be super active. And I also didn't have a lot of stable coins at that time, so I wasn't going to like park them there. I wish I had for the points though. And I saw several analysts at Masari included it. It was talked about a lot in their report, but they included it as like among their picks for, winners this year. It was very well loved after a successful airdrop and after the price action. And that's pretty exciting, but it's a whole ecosystem. I thought it was just a protocol, maybe on another network. I haven't done the dive yet. And can you tell us more about, like, they claim to be, what is it, the blockchain for all of finance? Is that what it said on the site there, Alex? Something like that?
Yep.
Yeah. What's the goal and where are they going next?
So right
Where could
now
they go?
it is essentially a layer 2 hosted in a layer 2. So if you want to use Hyperliquid, you have to get USDC. You could only take USDC in and out of their ecosystem, and you have to bridge it to Arbitrum first. If you can
Yeah.
get your USDC to Arbitrum, you can then deposit it into the Hyperliquid app, which is effectively a layer 2 because there's lots of different tokens within the Hyperliquid app. So they call themselves a layer 1 conceptually. It's really more of a layer 2 within a layer 2. But there is something coming up soon where they will be leaving Arbitrum and they will be coming up with their own network, the Hyperliquid Virtual Machine.
Woo!
Ooh.
Sounds fancy. Can you drive it?
Fancy.
Yeah, it's a
Can you
V12.
drive it?
Dang.
But basically the value proposition there is A, they're leaving Arbitrum, B, they're going to their sovereign network, and C, effectively they will be able to bridge to just about every spot asset. So you're going to have the
Wow.
Hyperliquid ecosystem and you'll be able to bring Solana in. You'll be able to bring Avalanche in. You'll be able to bring in every major layer 1 and layer 2 will be integrated with the Hyperliquid virtual machine, meaning there will be very little need for centralized exchanges.
Are they partnering with like Wormhole to make that possible, or are they building their own in-house solution and competing?
They are building their own solutions and they're also bootstrapping anyone in their ecosystem that wants to build it.
Yeah, because they got money.
Yeah.
They- So the Hyperliquid
Certainly
team
do.
has sold 0 tokens and they've only bought more.
Okay, so where are they getting their money? Are they like previously successful founders? Are they rich?
Must be.
Trading
The
fees?
CEO is called Jeff. He's got a pretty long history, but in terms of
Jeff.
trading
Jeff.
fees, they're making over $1 million
Yeah.
a day.
I mean, I guess that's pretty substantial. Wow.
Yeah, that's enough to do some buybacks.
Mhm.
Yeah. So the Hyperliquid virtual machine is basically, I mean, obviously this is a bit of a soundbite, but it is a decentralized exchange. It feels like a centralized experience. And it is going to replace Coinbase, Binance, Bybit. You're going to be able to get that experience, but with the decentralized architecture.
Okay, I'm giving a point to Hyperliquid because that's pretty killer, man.
And I will say no KYC on DEXs too.
Phew, okay, guys, what other questions do you have?
So what's the, every time someone tells me that something's going to replace something Titanic, I'm always like, okay, buddy, we'll see.
Back it up.
But one of the I think at least worthwhile mentioning, if I play devil's advocate for a second, even though this sounds good to me, is just like the loss of customer service on a platform like Coinbase. You have obviously plenty of like it feels to me like the clientele is extremely different between like who is going to be primarily using Coinbase as their on-ramp or their platform of choice to acquire assets, earn some interest, do whatever, versus the people who would prefer to use something like Hyperliquid, at least now, like near future.
Yeah, so in terms of, I guess, because we're talking about offering the product to unsophisticated investors who would need that customer support. Hey, where did my money go? What's a wallet, etc. You're right. There's kind of a disconnect there between Hyperliquid and that group of individuals, but that's kind of where the ecosystem comes in. So I'm not going to say the name, but I'm in early venture investing in a product coming up in the ecosystem that is basically going to be a replacement app for Coinbase in terms of it's a mobile app. You can access all the crypto you want. It's going to have customer support, and it's going to be that mobile app experience, but all of the liquidity is routed through Hyperliquid. And so I think that's one of the exciting things about Hyperliquid is that it's the layer for liquidity, but it's going to be the apps built on top of it where I think people actually see the most value in terms of user experience.
So
No doubt.
why, in your opinion, Nathan, has Hyperliquid been able to get so much success so quickly out the gate from a TVL standpoint? Clearly adoption is happening as compared to other decentralized exchanges.
Number one, they have insane liquidity. So there's a kind of phenomenon going on in decentralized finance where it's not about the TVL, it's how you use it. And this was something that I actually talked about with Daniel Sesta this morning, where his app and Hyperliquid are using a new kind of liquidity engine where they can effectively achieve the same liquidity with 1/50th of the TVL just by using it in a much more efficient banded manner. And that's kind of what
Mhm.
Hyperliquid does. Also, their funding rate fees are comparable to centralized exchanges, which is obviously going to attract those perpetual futures traders. And I saw this on Twitter, but the easiest way to build a cult community is get them rich.
Yeah,
And
Well,
with,
that
with,
will
with this
certainly do
airdrop,
it.
that's exactly what happened. So like the product markets itself, they've made their community insanely successful with the airdrop, giving out billions of dollars. And from there, I think it's just a matter of if they can maintain the momentum, deliver on the Hyperliquid virtual machine, and continue the success.
Yeah.
Somebody
I mean, I
commented.
think-
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, everything I'm hearing, I like Hyperliquid. Clearly, other people like it too, because, I mean, look at it. It's done phenomenally. But it's not going to replace centralized exchanges, in my opinion, just because, like, the clientele is totally different.
I mean, not
The-
unless they get a killer app interface that people love to use, like they use Coinbase. If they can abstract that stuff away, I think they can compete.
You can compete if they put money towards marketing, which they have money. They can put it towards marketing. For that, they got to get their name out there. They're building up the piggy bank to be able to do that, it seems, if they want to go down that road. But, you know, when people first get into crypto, they go to centralized exchanges because they trust a company, because they're used to working with the company. Anything decentralized is new to them. Going over to a decentralized exchange is always like a level 2 cryptocurrency trader and investor. So like their end goal, I get it.
At
I
least.
enjoy it. I would hope that more people end up going to decentralized exchanges, because I think they will, because the incentives are there to do so. But you know, first time, there's always going to be growth for centralized exchanges, for your Coinbases and your Binances and the like. Makes people feel comfortable. And so like I don't think this is going to replace centralized exchanges, but I think it's going to certainly do well if they keep on this track. And the fact also that they were able to do this without any venture capitalists in it is such a nice boon for like their continued success. These guys could be around for a while.
Yeah.
There's also going to be future airdrops if any of you guys are interested in using the app. I understand you all live in the
I mean,
US. So you are
obviously.
geo blocked from the perpetual futures component of
Okay.
their
That was a
product.
question in the
If
audience. Is
only
people in
I
the
didn't
US
have a VPN.
Yeah, so people
VPNs
in
are
the
really
US need a
important.
VPN.
VPNs are really important for privacy in a digital age.
And they certainly are. Thumbs up.
Giving you a point for that, and also
Son of a
belated
bitch.
point to Will for a killer question.
Hey! All right. There we
You
go.
really asked a good question about TVL, and I personally know enough to get to grading this, and I'd love to move on to maybe look at some of the other tokens in the ecosystem. And I was going to defer it to Alex to go first, because Cosmic said I want to hear what Alex thinks now that you've interrogated a bit. But do we have any more points to make on it, or things to poke?
Yeah, I just, you know, one of the things that I'm always cautious of, and I hear it before I say it, so just the annoying disclaimer that I have to make is nothing I'm about to say has anything to do with the ability of a token to pump. Okay, I'm not the one to talk to about that, because the rationale behind when tokens pump and why is often disconnected from any sort of like real world validity of the platform or the protocol itself. Often the two things are very disconnected. So without any of that, Hyperliquid could pump, it could dump. I don't know. I feel like sometimes with things like this, I'm very curious to see what happens with, you know, their interpretation of a virtual machine and what kind of ecosystem ends up getting built. I was talking to my buddy at Abstract today, hearing about the things that they're putting in their ecosystem and what they're launching with and all that sort of stuff as they transition to mainnet. And I just can't help but think that some of this stuff puts the cart before the horse a little bit. You know, like we're nowhere near mass adoption on anything. And I don't like it when we skip the point of like mild to moderate interest and then mild adoption before we get somewhere, unless that's the goal. Because it's totally fine for product market fit to be found by something that doesn't need to reach 1 billion people, but wants to be the best product ever for like the million hardcore DeFi users that really want to use a protocol like this. And in that case, I'm excited by the potential of something like to fill this place. So I think if we can more clearly define like, you know, what we mean by product market fit and what defines success in something like this, I mean, I've been watching Hyperliquid for a minute. It's not like the first time I've heard of it, you know, and I'm excited to see where it goes, because if we're into the whole decentralized thing, then you have to like embrace and be excited about shit like this that takes a stab at it, regardless of whether or not they ultimately are, you know, uber successful or not. But I definitely think like this is where that divide comes in. People who are totally comfortable and fine and totally valid in saying, I just want the big company with customer service that I can just like do whatever, I'm aware of the risks, or I don't give a shit or whatever, versus no, decentralize me as much as humanly possible. This sounds great. I can't wait to port over.
Decentralize me, father.
DeFi me, daddy.
DeFi me, daddy, for sure. So in that
Yeah,
case,
Point for Alex saying that.
Yeah.
I'm middle of the road. I'm excited personally
Mhm.
to see where it goes. I would personally use things like this, like products like this, to try it out and see how it goes. The one thing I'm curious about, like in terms of valid competitor, would probably be Say, as a network that is like built with the exclusive goal, whether or not they kill it or not, to just be like a DeFi chain, like a payments and finance focused chain, you know, with their specific order book consensus compared to Hyperliquid's goal of being the hub for finance. That's a competition that makes sense, and I hope they kind of, you know, go off each other a little bit.
Yeah, to me, like at this point, we've all seen so many different, you know, platform cryptos say like, we're going to really focus on DeFi. We're going to be the home for DeFi. We're going to blah, 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 have all these specialized things for DeFi. But then the TVL never really showed like a lot of really big momentum. Say is one. What is it? Phantom's another one. There are a few other ones I just can't think of. But if they're able to successfully leave this layer 2 within a layer 2, make their own platform, they're the first one to really do it in a big way with a bunch of money and a bunch of adoption, and can actually really do some cool stuff to the point where we can actually finally see what does a blockchain environment that's specifically built for DeFi actually able to do and deliver. That'd be cool.
That's a point. Okay, so do you guys feel good about giving it a grade?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah.
I would give this. I don't really see any red flags. I kind of disagree with Will about the product market fit thing. I think it's mostly there. In terms of while I look at it further, I'd give it an A.
Yeah, I would also give it an A. I also looking at purely as an investment for hype. The inflation rate monthly is super ridiculously low. It's basically zero. It's not zero, but it's basically zero up until what is this? 3 years from now, 2.5 years from now, in
bullish.
Yeah, a while from now. What is this? 2026 or something? I can't see the exact date on this timeline I'm looking at. Regardless, so I would give it an A. Would I buy hype? No, not at this market cap. But if they successfully make their own blockchain ecosystem, I would absolutely be looking at things within the hype ecosystem.
Yeah, totally. Alex, how about you? We'll let Nathan go last.
Like I said, I'm kind of in the B range, in that, like, you know, personally, as Alex, as a DeFi enthusiast, I would experiment with it. I will be following it to see where they go. I can't like super confidently give it an A, because A's are hard to come by.
You gave Doge an A.
I mean, Doge is
oh my god, I'll take that personally, man.
You gave Doge an A. Come on,
Will,
Doge
if you're gonna
can get an A,
you have to toss
Hyperliquid can get an A.
You have to toss a little bit of context under the bus with me if you're gonna throw that out there.
No way. I'm just gonna. I know that's how I introduce people. That's how I introduce people to you.
You heard it.
This
you
is
heard
Alex.
It here first,
He gives
folks.
Doge an A.
No context required.
Yeah.
My
yeah,
dad
it's
can beat up your dad.
It's in the B range for me, which is good.
It is
That's
good.
not a bad
It
grade
is
at all.
good.
Good
In
enough.
fact, it actually got a real grade out of you.
Yeah, that's impressive, honestly.
Well,
truly.
it's certainly not. But I'm not. You know, I'm like Will. I'm not buying it at this moment. So I'm just excited about where it's going to go.
Okay. Decentralized father.
From me, I think I have a boots on the ground experience with it.
Yeah,
I like the product. I use it daily. The ecosystem is flourishing, and so from my perspective, I'm going to give it an S.
S,
Ooh.
baby.
Oh, that would be the first.
Whoa.
That would be the
S tier,
first
there you go.
S.
I'm your local Hyperliquid Maxi.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And you are not sponsored yet by Hyperliquid, but frankly, you should be if you're using the product and you're going to help with. That was a really good assessment and overview. So Hyperliquid, sponsor this man. Also,
if anyone
Nathan,
wants to use it, use referral code DeFi Daddy for cheaper fees.
which I'm sure they can find in your profile. Yeah,
You
I'll
bet.
come get it. I'll try it. I also wanted to ask you, what VPN do you use? Just because people are always looking for
I have
them.
3 different ones.
Jesus, man.
for lots of different reasons.
You are private.
Personally, I like Norton the most. Or
Okay.
sorry, Nord, not Norton.
Yeah.
Norton's antivirus. Nord, Nord.
I use
There it
Nord
is.
too. Do any of you guys use any of these decentralized VPNs? You remember they were big a couple runs ago, and they're mostly vaporware, and I feel like I haven't seen a good product yet.
I haven't.
You haven't? No. Okay. Then good. We're good to move on. We got B minuses in the chat. We got a couple other grades in the chat. Let us know what your thoughts are about Hyperliquid. And Nathan, it seems like a good time. Maybe can you hit a couple of these projects to give us the highlights of the ecosystem? Because you mentioned what Sonic, DPIN, and or no, Sonic's not related, but you mentioned a couple related to Hype projects, and I'd love to hear about it.
I can just list off a couple tickers of ones that I think are particularly interesting. I won't go into granular detail with them. Vapor.
Well, but take your time. It's a talk show, man. Vapor.
Vapor is, I think it's got a market cap. Let me pull it up, around $100 million in the Hyperliquid ecosystem.
Oh, and also feel free, if you want to use the screen share here, to share your screen anytime, and I will catch it for the people on TikTok, just so you know.
Okay. So Vapor currently has a market cap of $70 million. This is an AI agent launchpad.
No. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
AI agent launchpad coming out of the Hyperliquid ecosystem. Obviously, it's built on the ELIZA framework, which is the framework popularized by AI16Z and Shaw Makes Magic. The product is fully functional, and it basically checks all the boxes in terms of the buzzword, the product, new niche, new ecosystem. Another one that I think is worth looking into is Farm. And Farm is a mix between NFTs and AI agents. So basically they're AI agents as NFTs that have been trained by the community for specific purposes. And even the artwork was made by the community. And then everyone gets to vote on which ones will get transformed into NFTs. They're kind of in phase 2 of development, where the community is deciding which artwork they want to graduate into AI agent status. But again, just kind of checks the boxes in terms of AI agent, hot narrative, new ecosystem. Market cap's pretty attractive for Farm. It is currently $42 million US.
Bearish. I'm honestly bearish on that solution, but I'd give it a look. What else?
Yeah, I don't like the solution. I don't like what it does, but it has all the right buzzwords for all the right categories that are hot right now. So, it'll probably do well. And it's an attractive market cap.
One could say pumpamentals.
Pumpamentals.
Yeah. No, I mean that's a valid thing to consider. Like, as you separate these things out in your mind, why pay attention to X, Y, Z? It really depends what you're looking to get out of it. We talk about that all the time. Like you said, Nathan, understand your risk appetite and then find things that go in the appropriate basket. And if what you're looking to do is like take a bet and try to flip something, it's a good thing to be able to identify what is like out here looking at us as a potential flip, but not as something that you're going to like set and forget and like check next year because it's going to be gone.
I also think there's a really good idea there. And I talk about this on my lives all the time, is that people need to reflect about why are they in crypto? Are they in crypto because they love the technology and they're passionate about this and it's the future of finance, it's an opportunity for them to experiment with new tech? Or are you like me and you are in crypto because you want number to go up and you're here to get rich in terms of fiat terms? Mm-hmm. And so I think it's really important to think about that, because if you are here for the technology, that is going to lead you down a very different path than I am here for number go up. And so it's really important for people to ponder like what side of that teeter-totter they're on, because I think they have very different strategies in how they approach the market and their overall mentality as a crypto investor.
Well said. Well
Agreed.
said.
Yeah, I would say also, for the record, just to add to that this is an important conversation to have with yourself, and there is not like a right or wrong answer. Like I've been harping on and preaching a lot lately that like in the world of finance, I think it's a great disservice that we present everything as like, no, this is the ultimate, whatever that is. Like there's no one size fits all. What works for Evan doesn't necessarily work for me. It doesn't work for Nathan. Will might have different goals, whatever. So the best thing that you can possibly do is learn to identify a thing and then figure out like where it belongs in the spectrum in the world of finance. And then, am I interested in interacting with this thing? No, not at all. I need to slide on the scale a different direction.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong
I'm
with
just here for number go up so I can get more expensive crap to put in my background.
Same here, man.
That's all I'm here for.
Everybody got a point that run. You're on a tear. Will, you got a point for knowing yourself, and I think that is the beginning of true wisdom. Somebody else said that.
myself.
No.
What about other picks in the hype ecosystem that you're paying attention to right now, Nathan?
So we talked about Vapor. We talked about Farm. There was one that came out that I originally listed in that Discord message called Deepin. I'm gonna go ahead and retract that because I think it's not. It's not that some funny stuff's going on, but it smells a little funny.
All
so
right.
we're gonna go ahead and
How-
retract that one.
What's the funny smell?
Gotta have the story here.
Yeah, we need
Yeah.
the funny smell.
So basically, it was going to be a physical device that you could use to support
Ooh,
networks.
already
For
bearish.
example, Barachain or other
Okay.
up and coming networks. It was a way
Also hot.
to kind of support infrastructure for people who might not have the ability to host a validator or get engaged from the from the networking side and the hardware side, because it is pretty complicated. And so they were going to be selling devices kind of like Helium style. And then the token dumped like 40% 2 days ago. And it's like, what is going on? This is up like 300% in a week. Like, is the team rugging? Like, what's going on? And the community overreacted because they said the founding team said they're not going to pay for shipping.
Oh, that was it.
The community has to pay for it.
I mean, that
And, like,
just goes to show you though how powerful setting an expectation accurately is.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't know. After that, because I was already up, I like reduced my exposure. I'm like, okay, we're gonna keep this one on the back burner for right now. Suss it out, see what's going on. Because I caught the vibe from Will that he's not too bullish on hardware projects.
No, I've just seen so many of them. And it could be from that, what was it? Was it the 2017 run or was it the 2020 run? It can't be. There was one where like hardware projects.
Helium
Or just-
Mobile.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just,
But it's
there's,
important
I just
to
have a bad taste in my mouth.
We've been talking about this lately just because there's some new types of hardware devices coming out, right? Like Sui's got their actually as I
Lockdag, you know.
keep trying to remind myself it's Sui, it's not Sui.
Sweet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's actually Sui, and I keep saying the wrong thing. Anyway, they have like their handheld. Solana's got a handheld. Solana's working on the Seeker, which is Saga Part 2. There's obviously, a plethora of different hardware wallets. There's like some different devices. And personally, I'm very excited about like crypto focused hardware tech, but huge but. I really dislike it when we slap a specific token into the thing, because as we saw, so Helium, great example, right? HNT was the token. Huge, big old thing at one point in the past.
A big old
several
butt,
years ago. Big old
as you
butt.
said.
Big old butt. But the problem with that was that the idea was sweet because it was open source hardware, which is a neat idea, like in and of itself. But you slap this token into the whole thing and use that as the incentive to sell the device. And all of a sudden, a bunch of people who would never in a million years buy that thing bought it. And then what do you end up with? A bunch of people and nothing but sell side pressure on a token that no one actually wants for any reason. And the house of cards comes crumbling down. And what gets lost in the mix? A potentially cool piece of hardware that now is only associated with this like bad Ponzi scheme token that collapsed out from underneath everybody, even though Helium as a project is cool as hell, but the launch method was awful. You know what I mean? So like that, I'm not stoked on at all.
My friends are case in point for that. They watched a Crypto Mason video in like 2021 on Helium, and then immediately all went and maxed out their credit cards, waited 3 months for the miners. They were making serious bread. Like some of them were making over like 5K a month. And
But
it was like,
Nice.
you got to get
And
out
then-
of it immediately.
and then they stopped making 5K a month.
Mhm.
There's a really compelling statistic in 2022 that was circulating that the Helium network, the same year that the token was worth, I think it was $5 billion at its peak. I just want to pull up the official number. The business netted $6,500 in revenue.
What?
That's rough.
In terms of how many people were actually using the network.
Hey, you know what? Not many startups are profitable. So yeah, nice job.
That's a good point, honestly, truly.
Yeah, it peaked at a $5 billion market cap in December, January 2022. And they had like less than $10,000 a year in revenue. And I was like, well, if that's not the epitome of crypto, I don't know what is.
No,
Like
that
just a
is honestly
complete disconnection of reality.
that tracks so hard. We were talking not that long ago, Evan, about the absence of M&A, mergers and acquisitions in the crypto space, when in like, the traditional business world, it's a humongous piece of the puzzle. But part of that has to include the fact that the way we value companies and projects in crypto makes no fucking sense. Like, you're in the real world, right? The last one I saw was a proposal. This was like local personal experience, right? We made an offer to purchase another property management company, and it was like, okay, let's take, revenue before and after all of these various adjustments. I never remember what that acronym is a day in my life. EBITDA, whatever it is. And multiply it by, thank you. Multiply it by like roughly 3.5 times, get a price, make an offer. In crypto, it's like, okay, what's your revenue? Okay, your revenue is $120,000 a month, and your valuation $13 billion. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Something here.
13 billion.
Right. And it's just like, okay, in crypto, the valuation, because you attach this like tradable, speculative commodity, I put in quotes, to the thing, and you get to gamble on it in a way that you maybe couldn't gamble on stocks before without certain accredited investor status. All of a sudden, we're valuing these things at like 6,000 times annual revenue, if they even have recorded revenue.
The interesting like kind of game theory there is that venture capitalists pay that like hefty ticket size on investments because they know it's going to be anchoring the market cap of their token at a much higher level. Which means that when their tokens vest, they're going to get that value back. So it's like, yeah, they might be investing at a $10 billion valuation, but if that pushes the market cap higher for their vesting, well, it doesn't matter if they paid a high price because they're going to extract that value.
Right.
Makes sense.
And again, venture style crypto investments, the incentives are not usually aligned in favor of both venture capitalists and retail investors like you and me.
No, I have a pretty fatalistic view of that. It's like crypto is just the method for venture capitalists to sell something for 1,000x what they paid.
I agree. It's completely.
Just that's what crypto is. It's a vehicle for venture capitalists to sell.
I missed giving Will a point, and I want to affirm that Alex, big old butt will definitely be a soundbite by as soon as I can possibly get it on the board.
I would also, before we move on, I would also like to add a moment of self-reflection for myself, which became apparent with AI agents, with our conversation first with Mac, and then, here in this conversation, also, it's a similar kind of lesson with hardware projects. And it's a very human trait. Everyone does it, right? You have a preset notion in your head of what's good and bad, and you hold on to that until one day you get really proven really, really, really wrong. And anything AI and attached to crypto, immediately I just threw into the trash can without really doing a lot of hard looking at it. And Mac Lorden showed, hey, there are a few AI agents here. I saw DeFi Daddy, you were posting a few things on Twitter too, and I was like paying attention. I'm like, okay, these guys are smart. They see some things that are useful here. Like, fine, I'll take a look. And then I found some AI agents where I was like, fuck, this one's kind of useful. I'm like, this one, there's maybe something here. As I reach into the trash can that's burning and try to like put out the flames to like actually look at what's left in my mind, as I angrily look at this piece of maybe gold that I threw out instead of flames, AKA didn't have the opportunity to buy because I had preset conceived notions of what is good and bad and didn't allow myself the opportunity to have the openness to be able to look at something new despite prejudging it. And the same thing too with hardware solutions. There could be a hardware project that comes out there that I would automatically ignore, and it could go up to $10 billion, and it's the next hot thing, and it's the next big piece of innovation. But I had preset notions in my head of anything with hardware is just trash.
So, you got 2 points for self-reflection on that one. Were you point farming?
Yes, he is.
I mean, now
really
it's a game, isn't it?
Well, and that was a perfect timing for that.
It's time to play the game.
It was a perfect.
I've been building these up, all week so far.
It was the perfect time
ready.
for that confession because I would like to segue us to talk about some of the AI tokens. I would love to hear about some of the agents that caught your attention. We had mentioned when Nathan and I talked, maybe just laying out the thesis, talking about some of the hotter ones in this moment, AI 16Z or Cerebro. But I'm glad to take it wherever you guys want to go. I just want to reset the room really quickly. I'm going to do this. This is my Kit Kat bar. Thank you, Kimberly. I'm taking a break. The show is not sponsored by Kit Kat, but it could be. Don't forget to get yourself a drink. I'm drinking kombucha. Let your hair down. It's Rise Up After Dark. If you have a question like what caused the market dip, or I see Mandy on Facebook, so good to see you. Will there be a bull run soon on alt? This is the show where we focus on altcoin research with our expert guests. Picks come from our Discord server, which is on the screen where I just pointed on TikTok, and it's going to be on the screen below everywhere else in just a second. It's totally free to join. We would love for you to come, get in that community, and start learning with others, because that's the fastest way to learn crypto. The best way to save money, headache, and time is to hang out with other people who are actually doing this stuff every day. The only thing missing in that community is you. We've got links to all kinds of resources, and that's where we're taking picks from tonight. But we will be back to answering your questions tomorrow morning. Monday through Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time is when we do the Rise Up Morning Show. We'd love to see you there. Have you had enough time, guys, to think about what you want to say? This has been a hot topic, the AI agents.
Yes.
I mean,
and I'll defer to you guys about where to start. But
it's
maybe
the
I'm
third hottest trending type of crypto right now, behind layer ones and meme coins. Pretty sure it's meme coins still.
Real quick, Nathan, what do you like to look at for Mindshare? I heard about a new tool called Dexu that has just like a combing Twitter kind of thing, and it reports on what's mentioned the most. But someone in our community asked us about how do you measure Mindshare? And I had like a very personal, qualitative answer. So I'd love to know what kind of tools or thoughts you have to assess trends and stuff. And you guys too.
I don't really have like a specific toolkit in terms of how much mindshare something has. I know there's that Twitter analyzer platform. It's like Kaisama, I think is the name, where you can see like the current trends in terms of how much things are being posted, who's posting them, et cetera, et cetera. But in terms of actually measuring mindshare, I think it's just how often do I see it? I think that's really the other thing that I think is particularly compelling as a crypto content creator is how much does your chat ask about it?
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. And not everybody sees that metric. I made a video about that like what they ask about tells me a lot about what's going on in the market.
Yep.
Right?
It's put a lot of things on my radar screen where I'm like, oh shit, that's good.
You know what I do?
Yeah.
I do want to say, like, just to bitch about for a small second, because I heard it again today, and you always hear it like as the market kind of gets farther and farther along in the bullish cycle, as people try to come up with like, okay, well, here's how I'm going to call the top and whatever. And I always think it's so funny, like as you sit here and shoot yourself in the foot with this, like, hey, when the one I heard today was, I believe you. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, what?
No, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
It was a private message.
Yeah. I was commenting on Nathan's microphone being a little bit hot, and he said his computer is a space heater. It's like, I'm sure that thing's just cooking over there. Don't come to me. But no, just the comment I heard today was like, hey, when your Uber driver asks you about crypto, then sell everything. And listen, like, I get it. It's a funny soundbite, but I always just get like a kick out of it, and then I get annoyed, and that's not hard to annoy me. When we're like, hey, the second like more people become interested in this industry that we wish everyone was interested in, we're getting the hell out of here. I'm like, you guys are so stupid. It hurts. Like, imagine if you just didn't Ponzi farm bullshit, and then you didn't have to be scared when someone discovered the thing you were doing. Because I think the same thing, like when more people get interested, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, let's talk about it. Absolutely.
We got to onboard the exit liquidity.
We do.
Swear
We
to
do.
God.
We got to onboard them, because then they become bag holders, and then the strong survive, and they're here for next time, and that's when they get to make their money. That's how it happened to me. Oh, I was with my barber getting my haircut 3 weeks ago or whatever, and I told Alex and Evan, he's in our Discord community now. And I was like, Mike, we got to get you in there, man. He was like, hey, dude, you just cut my hair. And he was like, hey, man, you know anything about like cryptocurrencies and stuff? And I was like, gee, is this a joke? He was like, oh, why is it a joke? And I was like, oh, dude, I'm an influencer in crypto. He's like, oh shit, no way.
You couldn't ask the better guy.
And then the entire barber shop, my stereotypical, like, every character you have
You
in
sold
your
your
head
bags to the whole
of who a
barbershop, is what you
Bostonian
did.
is. Yeah, they bought Morpho. they one of them bought Morpho there on his phone. He was like,
Oh
oh shit,
my
yeah,
God.
fucking what up, kid?
That's what barbershops
Just-
are meant
Yeah,
to be.
shit.
It just
Remember,
blasts the top.
If I lose some fucking money on this kid, I'm gonna fuck up your haircut next week. I'm like, all right, yeah, sure thing. Let's make sure it goes up. But yeah, I was just like, I left and I just messaged Evan and Alex, and I was like, bro, sell everything, sell everything. My barbershop's on it.
Man. Okay, so this seems like a good point to introduce AI agents. And if you want to give the narrative, Nathan, I'm glad to do it. But you see what I'm saying? I'm glad to have you do it, but I'm glad to do it too. If you just want me to give a quick summary of the moment that we're at before we take a token, what would you prefer?
Let's do it.
Well, I can jump in. I think
Please do.
what Will said particularly resounded with me, where he was talking about how he was really skeptical of AI cryptos. And I resound with that. Like 6 months ago, 9 months ago, before that, I was very much in the basket of crypto and AI go together like water and oil. The technology does not belong together. There are some exceptions, like Tau is relatively interesting, but when you're looking at the AI projects of like Fetch, Ocean, Graph, AGIX, like that was the most pure definition of marketing fugazi.
Yeah.
Product is
Yes.
dog shit. They slap the word AI on it, and they're like, "Fuck, people will buy this one."
Yeah.
This-
The VCs went hungry.
The
Crazy.
VCs. And so like I was very skeptical. There are some exceptions, Tau, 01 Labs, etc. But over the past 3-6 months, there has been a very important shift happening. And crypto has done a really good job onboarding artificial intelligence developers. Not crypto native at all. They're just really passionate about AI. And the momentum and the shift in product delivery that we've seen over the past 6 months is absolutely insane. I am very amazed at how quickly these developers have come into the space, acquainted themselves, and are delivering products that genuinely I don't think people really considered possible if you were to look back 6 months or so. And so I think there's been a major shift in momentum, but also a major shift in product market fit for these AI projects, where now it actually makes sense. Before, you were introducing a slow blockchain technology into some kind of AI process so people would buy it. But now we actually have AI agents. And I think AI agents really are kind of the light bulb moment for their integration with crypto because, well, it's the currency they're going to use.
Yeah, and the other thing to me too was the first attempts at AI projects in crypto were like, hey, you can do AI modeling here. Like, come and get your AI application built for your business here. And me coming from 7 years of experience working in AI implemented in Fortune 100 companies, I go, who the fuck's using this? Nobody. No one's going to build here. No one's going to use this. No one's going to trust this in their business. Nobody. And so, like, I just saw the use case and I was like, oh, this is all trash, and just wiped away. But these AI agents can create revenue flow for you in Web3 use cases, like in a metaverse gaming kind of play. They can do it for you in a content creation way. They can do it for you in trading and automating that, and just automating the flow of information to you to make decisions in the example that Mac gave when we spoke about sports gambling. And it's like, oh, useful with an actual targeted audience, with an actual use case that you can measure with dollars. And I'm like, okay, yo, you got it. There's a business model here now. Okay, cool. Awesome. We got something.
Value generative.
Yes. The thing that so much of crypto is missing.
Yeah. Product market
Yeah.
fit.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
also, like you said about bringing on real developers, that's huge. Go ahead.
It comes back to that question of, what defines finding product market fit? Because I think that we sort of use that term in crypto a lot to just, be this mystery phantom mass adoption, which is also kind of bullshit. Because it just implies that like any product that doesn't get 1 billion users is a failure, when maybe there's only a couple 100,000 people that need this thing, whatever it is. I think that's what's kind of interesting about the agent thing. Like, they can be hyper specific, perfectly tuned to like a scenario. Good Lord.
Did your floor just
I,
collapse, bro?
Oh, so sorry. Was that loud? I was just grabbing something out of my backpack.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It sounded
sorry,
like the
Chad.
apartment was.
That happened right as I typed to you guys, hey, I've got some sort of background noise. I hit send. It was
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, so I'm my skeptical point that I probably share with Will is just I hesitate whenever our first reaction is to like quick slap a token into it, because I know that those are just the vehicles that like 3 people make money on, 10,000 people lose money on, and then rinse and repeat, which I just don't give a shit about.
Here's a question: have you guys heard of Defi?
How does it
New
spell?
niche, DEFAI.
No.
DeFi,
Not
and
phrased like
AI.
that, but I have heard about AI agents doing DeFi things. Is there a particular project that's coined that term? Or is it just everyone on Twitter is using it?
So it just got added as a CoinGecko category yesterday, and
Interesting.
CoinMarketCap as well. There's a couple of different projects, but really one only has a working product that the public can see. And this was one that I gave you a preamble on Discord, Anon.
Yeah.
from,
Okay. Let's do this one
Daniel-
next then.
Okay.
From Daniel Sesta. I think this is really going to impress you guys.
Okay. Okay.
So I saw the head
Challenge
shake there, Alex.
I
Come on, man.
got my points finger ready, and I've got a drum roll. I'm set to go.
Okay, so let's circle back to Will. You said your barber was buying some crypto the other day, right? He was buying some Morpho.
Yes.
That's on the base ecosystem. So let's say he was starting from Coinbase. How would you get him from Coinbase to Morpho?
Well, get some Ethereum, bridge it over to your Coinbase wallet, which you can do pretty easily, and then make sure it's on the base network. Away you go. Go and do a swap.
Away you go. Use the DEX. Use the right DEX. Don't buy a scam token. Right? There's some nuance here for potential pitfalls.
Get the contract address.
Yes, get the contract address. Make sure it's the right Morpho. Yes. Yeah.
Right.
A few extra steps.
Yeah. And then, I don't know. Let's say he wanted to buy something on Solana instead. How would you get from base to Solana?
Well, you'd have to take your money, put it into ETH, send it back to Coinbase, convert that into Solana, send that over to your Phantom wallet, and then do the swaps, make sure it's all the right token address, all that good stuff, maybe a few extra things in between.
Side note, I actually think you can use Wormhole to do it natively directly now. But
And layer 0. But
Yeah.
and D-Bridge.
most people aren't going to know that.
Exactly. This is the point. Most people don't know how to use layer 2s. Most people don't know how to use bridges. Most people are not multi-chain proficient. What if there was a bot where you could say, I have 1,000 USDC on ETH. Buy $1,000 worth of dog whiff hat. And that's what it does. It bridges you from ETH to Solana. It uses Radium and it buys dog whiff hat. Okay, next command. When it's gone down by 20%, sell all of it for stablecoins and find the highest stablecoin yield on Solana, USDC or USDT. I have no preference. And that's what this product is. It's already functional. And it is a DeFi agent. It can bridge, it can swap, it can stake, it can manage risk, it's data availability. So you could ask it for the highest yield on any EVM network. It will tell you after your prompt all of the steps that it will take. It has a specific toolkit, so it will never use scam websites. Everything is done on chain. And before you tell it to do something, it will run you through all of the steps that it's going to do.
Who holds the key?
It's a Telegram-based service, so it would be the developer team in Telegram. That's something also people don't like to talk about. Telegram has everyone's private key.
Yeah, totally.
So there is systemic risk there, same as any Telegram bot. But that is what this product is. It is an interface for users to interact with DeFi, but you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to know which protocols, which bridges, which networks. You just have to tell it, here's where I am, here's where I want to go. And it does it.
So I was talking with somebody. This is a product a lot of people are building, and I can't recall who it was, but I was talking with somebody about a product that they have built, which is not just a DEX aggregator, but it is like one step down from having an AI agent do it for you. You tell it what assets you want, and it tells you, like DeFi Llama would, the best APY for it right now, but it manages it for you. It abstracts private keys, and it automatically invests or reinvests your money according to what the current best opportunities to earn yield for the assets that you like are, and then does it all in the back end. I I'm curious when people are using it now, what is like the AI infrastructure it's on top of? Is it GPT kind of thing? How are they?
Also, is this called Hey Anon?
Yes, it was launched on Sonic, which is rebranded Phantom. It's available on Base and Solana through Layer 0 as well.
Damn, over the past 7 days, it's up 850%.
Alex, you got a chart or
Number
website
goes
for
up.
me?
Trend is wild.
Yeah, hold on.
And then what's the website, Nathan? Do you have a link for us that people can play along at home?
Let me see. So
And
right
yes,
now,
they
the
would probably
bot
have
is
one-
in,
HeyAnon.ai.
Great, thank you. Go ahead, Nathan. The bot is in.
HeyAnon.ai.
Oh, the bot is currently being rolled out in private beta. By the end of January, they want 50,000 users.
Yeah. Okay, cool. How do we sign up?
If you want it, I can get access. I was interviewing the head dev, Daniel Sesta, this morning. He was the founder of Time Wonderland, Wogme Finance, Popsicle Finance, Abracadabra.money. Mr. Ponzi King himself
I was going to
is
say,
back
why?
with a redemption arc. And this on its own, I'm pointing to the right side of the screen here, is not a Ponzi scheme. There is no ridiculous yield. There is no unsustainable metric to it. This is just, he's calling it his redemption arc.
Yeah, I was going to ask,
So
why
he's
should we trust
fully
him?
aware of his Ponzi schemes.
He's doxxed.
Well,
He
I'm
lives
doxxed.
in Dubai. People know his name and his face.
Sure,
But you're
but
right.
like, why should we trust? There are lots of dox people who keep working in crypto after doing rough stuff. The 3AC guy comes to mind.
Yeah, 100%. Do you trust him? That's for you to decide.
Well, I don't know that I have to too much, except that he's going to have my private key, and I'm asking you to make the case for me because I don't have any basis yet aside from his reputation to trust him or not. But
So do you know why Time Wonderland failed?
Tell me why. Hang on.
Hang on, wait.
What I meant was,
Tell me why.
There it is.
used to be
There it
quicker on
is.
the draw. It's because I'm streaming the phone with this hand. So tell me why.
Time Wonderland failed because they had a massive target on their back. They were the single largest DAO. They still hold the record. They had a treasury of over $1.5 billion. They were generating more revenue than publicly traded companies. And this was during the time of Three Arrows Capital versus FTX versus Terra Luna. And they made strategic decisions to pull away from Terra Luna's USD. And that painted a target on their back from Do Kwon. They made a deliberate choice to pull away from the FTX ecosystem, right? They were doing funding rate arbitrage on FTX. They said, hey, we're not comfortable with this anymore. There's some weird stuff going on. They pulled out of it. And then miraculously, they launched Time Wonderland Shorts, perpetual futures. And so Daniel Sesta talked about it a bit more in depth today, but they had $1.5 billion in treasury assets. And the market cap of Time Wonderland fell below it because it was being shortened to oblivion. The funding rate on Time Wonderland during this time was over negative 100%. Meaning if you bought Time Wonderland on leverage, you were getting paid over 100% for that position. And so I'm not trying to say Daniel Sesta is immune of all accountability here, but the cascade of FUD started with Sifu.
Yeah.
Sifu was kind of the co-founder, co-architect here. And
you said Sifu, and I'm like, yes, the small rodent guy from Kung Fu Panda, of course.
Yeah.
Never could trust him.
a crypto Twitter inspired version of it. And
I regret
basically,
recording that.
there was an attack on his image.
I
for more
regret
or
that
less.
you recorded that.
He was there was some criminal stuff that happened earlier in his life. It was brought back up, and people thought that there was going to be stolen funds. There was zero funds stolen. Can be confirmed on chain, but that was the nail in the coffin. In terms of where their previous projects are versus where they are now, up for debate if people want to trust the individuals. But what I will say is that there are other people building these products. So whether you use Hey Anon or whether you use another one called Wayfinder, which is a venture capital one with no product on the market, I think this concept of Defi, which is how it's being pronounced, because I had no idea how to pronounce DFAI, but apparently Defi is how it's being pronounced.
Okay.
I think this is a really exciting niche because it reduces the pain point of introducing people into on-chain transactions. It reduces the friction of onboarding people into the ecosystem where their crypto really thrives, because crypto doesn't thrive in your centralized exchange wallet. It thrives in the decentralized infrastructure where it was designed to be used. So for example, Solana. There is virtually no reason people shouldn't be staking their Solana if they have it.
Yeah.
Right? Like 7% yield. There is literally, I mean, I don't want to say there's no risk, because there is risk, but like Solana was built to be spent. Ethereum was built to be spent. That's the reason we own these cryptos. And so I think there's a really compelling nuance here where these products, DeFi as a sector, whether you like Hey Anon, whether you like Wayfinder, whether you like Griffin, which is the one out of the Solana ecosystem,
I was going to ask you that next.
Massive value capture, because it just reduces the pain experienced by users.
Well, you're going to ask about Griffin. Did you have a specific question, or we just need the tea?
Also, I believe it's pronounced Griffane, which
Griffane.
I really enjoy as its name.
Griffane.
Griffai.
You got to say it with a bit of an accent. Griffin.
Griffane. Griffon. Maybe it's French. Griffon. Yeah, because that one is larger in volume, in about 3 times the size of market cap. So I was curious if you had any insight on that.
Product's not ready. They're also, the way they're building their tooling is significantly slower. Their product's not as, I guess, capable is the right word. So I guess just to provide some context of what Griffin is capable of would be pretty basic swaps. Hey, go there, do this, go stake this. More complex examples of what Hey Anon would be possible of doing would be watch Elon Musk's Twitter, pick a unique word out of a tweet, and launch a pump.fun. It could do that fully automated. Watch this public Telegram channel. Every time there's a contract address posted, buy 0.2 Solana worth and sell it after it's gone up 200%. So I guess what it kind of comes down to is it has much more agency over how the funds are actively managed on chain.
I gotcha. I like the concept of that. I would like to play around with it myself. I know that the product is coming soon. I think you already answered this. Do you have any idea when it's coming out for Anon?
50,000 users in January.
Oh, that's right.
I've been talking to Daniel quite a bit. I'm sure I could get you guys invite link to the beta. Right now it's a Telegram interface, but it will also be a web user experience in the future. Basically, he is calling this his creme de la creme, his revenge arc, his Thanos gauntlet, his Batman return. Obviously, I have a different... I'm biased. I bought the pre-sale. I got into it in the ground floor because I follow what Daniel does, because pumpamentals. Ponzi's are fun. This isn't necessarily a Ponzi, but that's why I like his approach to markets. They're flywheels. They're reflexive. They build upon each other. And so that's why I've always paid attention to who he is and what he's building. And that's why I bought ground floor on this project, because I believe in him. And so I understand that there is a bad perception of who he is and what he's done, but I'm biased. I like the project. Numbers going up.
Well, I like the project too, but I also really like seeing the degree to which Alex's eyebrow shot up his forehead.
Fact check yourself, brother.
Alex. What are you thinking, Alex?
Listen, I'm comfortable like missing out on stuff. I'm a curmudgeon when it comes to a lot of this. None of this is news to anybody. I'll be honest. You lost me at Time Wonderland. I'm out. It's just not like my cup of tea. And I have reservations about people who like are or were involved, honestly, partially regardless of who was totally at fault for the crumbling of an empire, who come back in with like a new, bigger, badder, like this is it, like this is the one that's going to make all of the money back. Like you then in that case, like what happens is we're zooming the Ponzi scheme out farther now to include more than one thing, because the definition of a Ponzi scheme, for anyone who doesn't know, is when you use new funds from new investors to pay back lost funds from old investors or to enrich early investors. And you just kind of like, how many times can we cycle this thing? And I just okay. I don't think that anything coming out right now in a brand new niche is going to be the one that's like the end all be all. This is going to be it forever. Like we're not finding the winners here. Okay. The final boss, the Thanos gauntlet of AI agents, is not coming out this week. I'm sorry. I have no faith in any of this to last longer than a month. You know, in a world where, I always say, in a world where 25,000 games launch on Steam every year and like less than 1% of 1% actually ever generate any revenue, I have just no faith. And I'm so comfortable just being like, you know what, I'm good. I'll watch you guys
absolutely die on this hill.
Yeah, I would gamble.
It's just not for me.
I'd take some money and gamble because I like the idea of the AI agent. And when I look on chain, I see that the holdings are decentralized except for one smart contract. It would be something I would gamble on. It's not something I would put the amount of money that I have in something like my Bitcoin or my Aerodrome or my Morpho.
That would be insane.
It would be insane. But you know, gambling, sure. And if it was a founder who didn't have this history, maybe I'd put more into it than gambling. But because of that, my trust in terms of the amount of money would only be gambling money to me.
I wouldn't go super hard. Like, I'm not going to sit here and call him a bad person or anything like that, because quite frankly, I don't have anywhere near enough information to make an assessment like that. But you know, I just know that controversial figures, when they are central to something, often have a larger than life influence on the thing. It's one of the reasons that Cardano has an issue, because you've got the Charles effect, you have the Vitalik effect, you have the Richard Hart effect. Like, all of these times there is a controversial central figure in any capacity. So if what you have right here is like a thing being launched by the Time Wonderland guy, that's exactly where 80% of people, and I'm being generous with that statistic, are going to stop. And you just don't have me there. I don't care enough. But
okay, so Nathan, I want to hear your rebuttal. I want to hear your grade, and then I need you to turn down your mic just a touch. Oh,
do you? Okay.
A little high.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
Let's see. Can I figure out how to do this?
Well, take your time out. Here's what I'll do. You look like you had a rebuttal behind your eye, and if you want to give that first and then do that while we're all giving our grades, that's fine too. I will say, just to give you some time to think about it, I share all concerns with all of you and curiosity with all of you. I would give it a B. I think the killer thing about trends that people need to be aware of, especially if all they want is to make money, you've got to be a first mover. And the fact that they have a usable product that is so thorough and impressive, and their leading competitors, even the one that has more market cap, doesn't, that tells me they're going to be the first mover most likely to this trend. And that is going to make them a lot of money the way it made GOAT a lot of money, the way it made AI 16Z a lot of money, because it's all about attention and mind share on the way to finding who will become the Verizon of this product market fit solution. It may not be them, like you said, Alex, but I'm concerned about the founder, and I'm concerned about
rightfully so. I mean, like, it's an infamous track record, right? You can't get away from that fact.
No, and I'm not. I'm like Alex. I'm not picking on him. I'd sit down and hang out with the guy and talk to him. I think his solution is brilliant. I'm also concerned, about like the private key thing. The Telegram thing is a little concerning, but I still would use it. The only other hesitation is time. I don't have a ton of time, and I place a lot of premium on that. So I absolutely, though, would look at it and I would use it. I would consider buying the token, and I want to use the agent, because that's going to be a killer product if it does all those things. And I want to be somebody who has an edge to it and is early, especially if it's not going to, cost me a ton of time. So B for me.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Alex? What's your grade?
So it's just I'll quote Randy. It's a no for me, dog. But that's honestly just because, like you said, Evan, I'm tired and I'm okay like missing out on some stuff. I don't need to participate in everything. And I mean, Nathan, I know that you know this, but just for context here, like if I'm gonna curmudgeon about this, I'm not like coming at Nathan. I enjoy having discussions like this, and I know that Nathan gets it. You know, like with you got to be skeptical of stuff. It's worth pulling the slot machine lever and taking a risk on XYZ, even if like long-term fundamentals don't look great, but short-term pumpamentals look promising. Maybe that's worth taking a risk on. And all of this is supposed to achieve is like give you an accurate representation of like what it is we're looking at, so that you can. I love the phrase risk appetite. I've never used that before, but I'm stealing it from you.
Risk appetite and risk profile make you sound super smart.
Profile and tolerance I use all the time, but appetite, I really like the word appetite in there, and I've never used that specifically. So
I've never used that
really
word before.
Like Will, to your point, would this be a gamble? 100%. And I know that like if I'm in the position where my risk appetite has now allowed me to take a bite of something that is gambly, I know that my strength is to sit on deck screener and like audit things quickly and like try to flip a couple uber shitty meme coins with like sub 100k market caps and get in and out on a quick dub. Like I would rather flip that coin than try to start like learning a whole new skill set in some weird AI agent that I've never even sat down to read about, built by an infamous Ponzi founder. Like I'm gonna gamble on the thing that I at least understand what the lever looks like. You know what I mean?
Bullish on gambling bites.
Sure.
That's it.
What's your grade?
I'm good.
He said, okay.
It's a no for me.
It was a no for him.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
It says,
Well,
is that an F?
It's a no for me, dog.
It's like an S. It's not on the scale, but you know what it means. You know,
Yeah.
it gets the people going. Go ahead. Will.
It's provocative.
Yeah, I don't know what I'd give it. It's hard to think what you're gonna. It's a hot trend. It's in Solana. Yeah.
The token is on Solana and Base, but it is native to Sonic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so the
and the
token's
agent
in
trades
two
everywhere.
hot ecosystems that have access to liquidity, to pump, hot trend, a founder who can get a lot of eyeballs on him for good or bad reasons. I would give it a B minus. You know, I feel like that's a good gamble territory that has a number of things going for it from a pumpamental standpoint. I'd give it a B minus.
What about you, Nathan?
For pumpamentals and numbers go up, I would say this is like A plus, S minus for me. I have a lot of conviction in this project, also because I bought in at like 20 mil market cap.
Nice.
So proportionally, I'm biased because my horse is winning in this race. And like we're talking about early, kind of the landscape of AI agents is changing, or the landscape of crypto AI is changing very rapidly in favoring agents. The value of moving first in an industry is very high. AI agents are new. DeFi AI agents are even more new. And it makes sense to me because, for example, when my friends want to buy a random project, they ask me how. And most of the time that results in them coming over to my house and me pressing the buttons for them because it's beyond their crypto literacy. And so being that person in our social circle, this product makes sense. I also like, I don't want to push my own stuff too hard, but the interview that I had with him today, I think it's eye-opening. He was super transparent. He asked any single question I answered regarding liability, transparency, what happened, and gave specific insight into the incidents resulting in his current reputation. And so, yeah, A plus, S minus. I actually do have my screen shared because I just have a quick snippet from something that I used the bot for this morning. Actually.
Okay, great. Let me add it to the stage, and I'll.
Let me know when I'm on stage. I currently have it pulled up.
I'm gonna get you. You're on stage, and I'm gonna get you on the TikTok screen. But I just want to blow you up a little so people can kind of see this. Give me 2 seconds. We run a tight ship here with the best streaming setup in the land at the Rise Up After Dark show. Go ahead.
So I prompted the bot to find me the highest yield on any Ethereum network for 1,000 USDC. It gave me the two highest options. The one on the top of the screen is Aave, and it gave basically all of the important DeFi metrics that you might care about. First one was Aave, second one was Spark, and then it said, based on the yield data, Aave V3 offers a slightly higher supply rate for USDC. Would you like to proceed with deploying 1,000 USDC on Aave V3, or do you have any other preferences? And all you would have to do is type yes, and then it would immediately execute the transaction. It would bundle it into 3 transactions, and then you would be done with it. And so the same thing could happen for bridging, staking, farming, yielding, etc. And so to me, obviously, I love DeFi. And so I very clearly have a propensity to use this product myself. A+, S- is where I would put it in. Oh, we got the layers going on.
Got that
right
infinity screen, man. Hang on, I'll kick it off the stage.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have given you a heads up.
No, it's okay. I'm glad for it. So, Will, what's the aggregate grade? We're sitting about B+ territory, yeah.
Well, for
Or maybe
grades, and we'll show this at the end. I'm doing Nathan's grades in green, and then the Rise Up Morning Show collectively. I mean, Evan, you said a B, I said a B-. We're
always in sync, man. Yeah.
We're usually in sync. We'll put it at a B, and then I'll have just no for Alex dog.
Perfect.
We'll do that.
No for
That'll
Alex.
be no for Alex dog.
I also don't want to put water on the fire, but I do have to go in 6 minutes time. Precisely.
Okay,
6:30.
then let's do
Give us
this.
one more coin. Give us one more coin. Now.
Let's get
We're here.
one more coin with your final thoughts. Or Alex, did you have another idea too?
I was gonna say if we're gonna toss out one more, I thought we could kind of rapid fire. What? Were you shaking your head?
Nothing. I was gonna say I don't think we have time to do a whole more, but we can have Nathan
no.
rapid fire them.
We don't need to. I'm just to get a fourth opinion from Nathan, since he hasn't done this. Someone asked about a couple, just for the record, couple premium people have asked for tokens that we have done on previous After Darks. So we can link to those episodes so you guys can check those out. Also, there was an interesting question to go back through and see if we would change grades now on stuff in retrospect, which I think would be an interesting
Sure.
Well, I just remember we put virtuals on weeks ago.
And I think we
we
might have
did?
given it a mid-level grade. Yeah.
I think I told them their website was ugly.
And honestly,
Yeah.
I don't think I understood what
2020,
they did.
man.
I don't think I understood what they did, that they were pumped out fun for AI agents. Let's do that in a second
Definitely
when
not.
we give the commercial. But let's maybe rapid fire a couple for Nathan, or give him the opportunity to give us one more pick. What do you think?
I would give you the choice, Nathan, as the guest. Is there another one that you're itching to talk about, or would you rather take one randomly out of a hat? It's not a loaded question. It sounds like a
Can I
loaded
talk
question,
about
but it's
another
not.
project that I like?
Yeah, talk about
Sure.
another project that you like, and then we'll watch the time, and we will get a final thought and give you some points before you go. In
Sure,
fact,
Sonic.
here's one for the road. Sonic, got it. Great, pitch me.
Ticker is S. It's rebranding from Phantom to Sonic, boasting as the highest throughput, fastest finality, EVM compatible. It is coming from Andre Cronje and Sonic Labs. Andre Cronje is practically the grandfather of decentralized finance.
Can we take a point away from him for pronouncing Andre Cronje's last name is Cronje?
Cronje.
There you go.
Boo.
Boo.
Oh wait,
Um,
now I know this guy. I'm imagining his head written out, and I'm like, oh wait,
And
should
this
I know
is-
this guy?
This
You
is the
know who it
rebrand
is.
of Phantom,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
This is the rebrand as Phantom. So
Yeah.
over the past 3 weeks, you've been able to bridge your Phantom over to Sonic and use the mainnet as however you want. Exchanges are just starting to support the migration from the FTM token to the Sonic token. And basically, it is the network being reborn with completely new architecture and capabilities. There's a couple things that really stand out for me. Number one, there's going to be a massive airdrop for 600 million Sonic for all people engaging in the ecosystem in the first 6 months of deployment. Obviously, that's a huge incentive for people to get active on chain. But number two, they have designed the architecture where developers who have launched apps and tokens get 90% revenue share from network revenue,
Huh.
which is the single best incentive that a network can have.
Yeah, totally.
Normally, foundations and labs just give out money to developers. Hey, here's $2 million, build this. Here's 500K, build this. But now a developer is able to fully self-fund based off the network fees that their product generates. So this aligns the network's incentives with the developers' incentives with the community's incentives. For reference, if SHIB was deployed on Sonic, the developers would have made close to 100 million US dollars based on transaction fees and token approvals, which is absolutely insane because that means the SHIB team would never need to sell a token to keep the lights on. That would have been paid in Ethereum. And so I think this is a very compelling case that in the world of crypto, developers go on a network, developers release apps, apps attract money, money attracts users. There's kind of that linear flow where if you do not incentivize developers, your chain's kind of dead. And I think this is the case in point with stuff like Cardano, Algorand, right? ICP. They just don't have that ecosystem. They don't have the developer incentives. And Sonic standalone is the only network that I'm aware of that has aligned the incentives of the developer, the community, and the network. And so that 90% revenue share, I think, is going to attract a lot of not new developers, but seasoned developers re-releasing their products on Sonic. And it is going to contribute to a rapidly growing ecosystem. It's EVM compatible, so you can use it in MetaMask. It's accessible in that sense. But I've been shouting it from the mountaintops on X, and most people don't know they will be using Sonic this cycle. They just don't know it yet.
Interesting. Using it how?
I mean, I really like that incentive system. That just makes sense.
Well, yeah, that'll seal it for me, because I'll say one thing. Nathan is correct. Like, if you don't nail the developer incentive, then you're cooked. But you can't just incentivize developers. You have to be able to talk about the shit that you then incentivize the developers to do for you. And this is the Polkadot problem, where you have a decent, like I would say, good grants department that is, not super stingy. This is the same thing with ICP. Dfinity has a good grants program. And you can incentivize developers to come do cool shit, and then guess what? No one fucking ever finds out about it because the blockchain and the ecosystem doesn't ever tell anyone about it. But Phantom, or now Sonic, I've been to a Phantom headlined conference before. They are not shy about marketing. So I'm inclined to be a little bit more optimistic that if you can incentivize developers properly, bring them there, give them a good incentive structure, and also do them the solid of marketing the shit that they make for you, because we all know that devs can't market for themselves, and they shouldn't have to. That's not their job. You've got an extra ingredient there that makes me way more excited about that pie.
When is the mainnet launch?
The mainnet is live now. You've been able to use it for 3 weeks or so.
Okay, that's the gong that means, Nathan, I know your time is up and you've been more than gracious with us. I'm giving you a point for that, and I'm going to give you some applause and ask you just to tell us, as a final thought, what's your ask for our audience? How can they support you? How can they find you? And do you have anything else that you'd like us to think about?
I just want to take one poke at Alex. Hey Anon received a substantial grant for building on Sonic from Andre himself.
Don't come for me.
Andre Cronje.
Ooh, shit.
I just had to poke you a little bit there.
Full circle on that.
That's a nice
Daniel and Andre are good friends. Okay,
Fair.
So thank you so much for having me on. I truly appreciate it. I do have to go, unfortunately. I wish I could stay and continue yapping. My name is DeFi Daddy. I've been in crypto since 2016. 2011 technically, but I was in grade 10.
But who's counting?
Yeah. I take a data-driven approach to the markets. You can find me on TikTok. Obviously, for the people on TikTok, easy to find me there. You can find me on X with the same name, DeFi Daddy, but you just got to slap an underscore on there. Everything I do for free. I don't sell signals. I don't sell mentorship. I kind of stray away from that because my mentality, my ethos is that I want to add more value to the space than I take away. And so everything I do for free. I have a love of the game, and my job is just to empower people to weed through the incessant bullshit of this space to help make people make more data-driven decisions.
Well, we love it, man. Thank you for joining us. Have a great night. Be safe. We'll let you know. You've got 7 points, and I'm going to give you an 8th as you go out the door. You are, in fact, in the lead. We'll let you know if you win.
Damn it.
And can you message me what the ratings are on Sonic? I want to know.
Oh, yeah. We'll give you some grades.
I'm assuming you're going to give it an S, yes?
Yeah, no, I've thrown out too many S's today. We'll give
Okay.
it an A+.
Give it an A+.
Oh,
Does
okay.
that mean that Hyperliquid is your pick of the night? Can we safely say that?
I would say
That's what the grade would
Hyperliquid
say.
is probably my highest conviction play of the night and I would say Anon ticks the box for Pumpamentals for me. Hyperliquid,
Beautiful.
the thesis is sound, it's cohesive, but Anon is number go up friendly.
Yeah, got it. Okay,
Oh,
cool. Well, thank you
perfect.
very much for your time, brother, and
Thanks, dude.
have a good
See you,
night.
man.
Take care, everyone.
What a
Goodbye.
mensch. What a mensch.
Well-
I hopped off TikTok. Thank you so much for having me, guys. Have a great night.
Shit.
He's still
Wait, shit, he's still here.
he's a ghost in the
I was
ceiling.
about to talk shit.
Excellent. We can go around. We'll give our grades for that one too. I would say I would need honestly to look at it further myself, but I remember seeing Sonic the toker
The toker.
the ticker
Said
S.
Joker.
And I think the Phantom team is pretty smart. They've had an interesting rebranding, and I just kind of was waiting for more proof in the pudding, but I will definitely be giving it another look. Nathan didn't bring us any clunkers tonight. I'd probably give it a B. Got to look further. What about you guys?
I honestly don't feel equipped to give it a grade right now, although I will say that I am genuinely excited about the developer incentive that he described, so I would like to learn more about that. I can tell you right now that one of my single biggest problems with launching tokens for stuff, and Mac and I have talked about this all the time, that like in Web3 and in crypto, if you make the effort to build a project and you want to get funding for it, oftentimes that funding comes with a string attached that you need to launch a token, which immediately sets you up to only be able to really realize much of your revenue and profit to put back into your company to build it by dumping on the holders who bought that token to support you in the first place, which is a horrendous relationship to get into. And it's why I lost our giant game grant, because I didn't want to do a token, because it just didn't make any sense. If you can solve that problem, and this sounds like a valid crack at solving that problem, I'm immediately excited, because you can change that relationship wherein a token doesn't have to be only revenue realized by dumping on a community of holders. So right there, that's interesting. I will say though that like the Phantom ecosystem in and of itself, I don't remember overly fondly. So I would be pretty critical as I go back and look at it. I just remember it being like heavy whale activity. I got personally body checked out of the way at a conference by one of Henry Ye's
This
bodyguards.
is true.
This is
let me
true
set the
story.
scene for this. We're at a club in Miami that's way too loud. It's called The Wharf, and Ye walks in. He's like the prime sponsor. So there's packed club, and then there's this empty section with like 3 couches, and no one's allowed in because there's already these like huge, like the rock-sized bodyguards, when all of a sudden like a massive parting of the sea happens by the door, and it's more like the rocks walking, like what is it, at least 8 guys, Alex, and in the middle of them
So
is this
many.
Not small but short,
Small.
and certainly short by comparison to these hulks, man, in a suit that probably cost more than my house, and you could just smell the money on him, and he looked scarier than any of them. I'm sure he was a nice guy, but
This man's
just
only
waltzed
claim
this
to
guy.
fame is being rich, and it's mostly because of Phantom. He's like a Phantom whale.
And boy, could you
and-
tell it.
And for
And
context,
we were allowed
too,
in the VIP section that night, weren't we? But
Yeah.
I was still like,
Yeah,
Sir,
well, and it was
ma'am?
funny too, because we were backstage then with Buster getting ready to and Mo getting ready to meet or try to like steal. I forget who I was trying to meet and talk to, and Mark Cuban just walks by totally by himself because he's doing a fireside chat. And I just remember thinking to myself,
sweatpants.
Mac, like, how funny is it that Mark Cuban, with a net worth as big as his, is here totally by himself, and Henry Ye is here with an entourage of 38 bodyguards who are actively hip checking people out of the
who
way.
can't all
It's
fit in an elevator together.
like, dude, you look like a little skinny Twitch streamer who hires security just to look like he's important right now.
Oh my god!
Don't come for me.
It was great.
So
Oh, yeah.
anyway, I'm excited about the rebrand. Like, probably needed it because Phantom was dead. I'm skeptical of the rebrand because you needed it because Phantom was bleh.
Bleh.
And yeah, so I don't have enough information to like give a grade, but I will give it a second look to like see how I feel about it.
Will, what about you, man?
I mean, I'm excited about the incentive structure. Rebrands always kind of give me just native skepticism. But I like it. I like what they're doing. I like what they're taking a crack at. It's something I'll definitely keep an eye on. I wouldn't invest in Sonic right now just because it's a bigger market cap than I would like, but it's a new ecosystem to look at. And another thing too, with a huge airdrop like this, the price of the token out the gate typically doesn't do very well. If you look right now, the price of the token hasn't been doing very well either, but there's an airdrop. Luckily, this airdrop is in the hands of developers for the most part. Those typically aren't the people who sell like crazy, but a new token with an airdrop selling out the gate it's usually good to chill and kind of wait to see how it goes and where the price starts to stabilize before buying in if you're bullish on it. But I like it. It's a good new attempt to take a crack at a real internal economic problem in the space.
Okay. Are you with Alex not going to give it a grade yet?
Oh, no, we're here to give grades. Come on.
Give it a grade, baby. Roll the
little
dice.
Soft soy boy beta cuck move right there.
You are such a bitch.
I will give this a B+.
B+. We're really quite in sync tonight. Now, Alex, I would love to do one or two token picks from our Discord. I know we're coming up on time here, so let us know what your grades are in the chat.
We could
Go
talk
ahead.
about this in the morning, but it's just such an interesting thing. It's different. It's not a coin. It is, and let me know if you guys want to table this for a discussion in the morning. But apparently, the DOJ has given approval to sell the Bitcoin.
Breaking news.
Which they can't all sell at the same time. I'm pretty sure it's illegal to do that. It is definitely illegal to do that.
Can you do this?
A little bit at a time.
Can you back up, give us the headline, break the news, and then let's talk about it tomorrow, because we did have a couple of picks from some of our members, and I know Alex has got them queued up, and I'd love to honor our members. We always say we're going to do them, and we always don't do as many as we used to.
First of all, this is from the Coin Catcher. The U.S. Department of Justice is authorized to sell $6.5 billion worth of Bitcoin seized from the Silk Road dark web. That is the headline.
Yeah, it's being reported in a couple of other places as well.
I also have it in. No, that's all I have it in for recently on Google. Sorry, go ahead.
This chunk represents what?
That's like
a quarter, a little bit more than a quarter of.
I'd have to back into the math, and I don't have a calculator on hand.
It's like 69,000 Bitcoin and change out of 203,000 total.
So about a quarter
seized assets. So a little bit more than a quarter.
And it's less than Germany sold earlier last year, right?
Yeah. I really truly have a very short thought on it, and then we could totally expand it later. But just to say, one, I expect that news like this, compounded with already kind of a downward day, as we have like good economic data, which leads all of us to realize like the Fed is going to cut rates at a lower amount than they were originally maybe forecast for this year, kind of confirming that pushes it down a little bit more. Plus you have quantum stocks crumbling and like other stocks taking a dive because of that or whatever. On top of it, this like for sure volatility, downside sells, we dip a little bit more. We're still up in the low mid 90s on Bitcoin anyway. But like overall, just for the record, central authorities getting rid of some of the Bitcoin that they are holding is like in the long term, that's a good thing. And we all know that Michael Saylor's just going to buy it anyway. So what are we really whining about? You know what I mean?
This is true.
I don't know. That's the sum total of my thoughts on whenever a government.
And also they'll sell it at an auction too. It's not like they're going to sell it on the spot market.
Right.
Exactly,
Yeah. So it shouldn't be a cause for concern. Certainly not now. We'll report on it more in the morning. And that reminds me, Alex, while you really quick, what are the one or two tokens that we can prep to look at before we end? And then let me give one quick commercial for folks.
Yeah, no, go ahead and do that. The ones that people had brought up were Alien Base, which I know we have covered and talked about here and there several times.
Could be fun to return to, like you said.
And come on, open.
I'll do a quick health check on Alien Base.
And then
okay, so you got that one.
SWE, which I've talked about extensively.
Okay, are you prepared to give an update on it?
I mean, yeah, honestly, the update is like nothing has changed. It's
okay.
It's still Yes, go ahead.
We'll get you to,
Do the-
we'll get
do
you to give people the
commercial and
summary.
We'll do final thoughts and then.
Okay,
yeah,
I just wanted to make sure that we were all prepared to do our tokens. The commercial is that we are live 4 days a week in the morning, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Thursday. And if you asked a question that didn't get answered tonight, that is a good place for it. But the best place for it is the Discord server. It's on the screen here on TikTok, here, everywhere else. Hi to our friends on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. We're so glad you're here, and we would love to get to know you better. All kinds of resources in the Discord. The only thing that's missing is you. It's where the show lives 24/7. Will, you just want to run with Alien Base?
Yeah, Alien Bases. I just went on DeFi Llama to look at their TVL, and it's grown, but not necessarily in a way that looks particularly healthy. So here's Alien Bases, and this is their TVL measured in Ethereum, not US dollar. So you see they struggled for a little bit. They started growing in May, held those levels all the way up to November, had a big shot upwards, and then since the beginning of December, started falling. So this only equates to, if we switch to dollars here, $51 million of TVL. So yeah, there's like some good signs here for Alien Base from like a fundamental strength standpoint, but at the same time, it's nothing impressive. There's nothing impressive here to me. If you go and use their interface, I think their interface is nice. I think it's smooth, but the TVL growth just isn't there. All money for decentralized exchanges is just going through Aerodrome right now.
Yeah, and that was going to be my question is comparatively, you're saying, do you have any numbers or figures approximates like, oh, okay, thank you. Because that was my impression of it too. Is it
Aerodrome has $1.3 billion. Granted, though, Aerodrome's ETH has also been slightly going down, but more stable. So you know what? Maybe it's more of maybe it paints a better picture for Alien Base. Because I mean, this is holding, but you can see it's clearly sliding a tiny bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's holding better though, but still, you know, this paints Alien Base's current DeFi Llama TVL sliding in a little bit of a better light.
Got it. Good to know.
So Alien Base is way down there.
Way down there.
Yeah.
$51 million, down on the day, down on the week, down on the month in a pretty big way. And if you try to look to see like where is TVL sliding on Base, you've got Franklin Templeton getting a big bump, and then of course Morpho getting its big old bump, and then Aave is just like always a monster, and Uniswap as well. So yeah, I mean Alien Base is just getting outpaced by
I'm giving Franklin Templeton a point for getting theirs. And something Nathan said earlier was about like how I forgot to mention how cutthroat that DeFi space can be in terms of like the time Wonderland sabotage. Dude, Aave is like, in my mind, kind of a mafia figure, because if you want an interesting, riveting, and nerdy story, do the history on like the launch of different stable coins and how DeFi protocols choose to list them or not, and then fight with each other about it. It is absolutely wild. I know few things that are at the intersection of like riveting crime drama and nerd stuff, and that's one of them. I don't have anything to add on Alien Base. I would grade it based on what you guys have said. It's like a C- for me because it's on a hot ecosystem. It's got some mind share, but the metrics just aren't there. Could it improve? Possibly. And would I pay attention to it if it did? Yes, because I already have some assets on Base, but it's not looking good. Outlook not good is what the 8 Ball said. What about you guys?
I think a C. I was going to go with just a C because people might dive into Alien Base as a crypto simply because, cheap Aerodrome, and then buy. That's something that happens every single cycle. So the price could do just fine, but it doesn't meet the qualifications that I have to invest in something.
Al, what about you?
Yeah, no, just if I'm looking at the hot decks in the Base ecosystem, it's obviously not going to be Alien Base. And I personally, just because I'm a curmudgeon, I refuse to give something an inflated grade because it, as a crypto, has the potential to just irrationally pump. Like, it wouldn't make sense for Alien Base to go drastically up in price when they're actively losing TVL. So The disclaimer is that with everything, including the shittiest pile of shit that ever shit in crypto, could it pump? Yes, it could. Should it? No. And am I interested in other stuff? Yeah, but there's nothing inherently wrong with it. It's just they're just not doing great. So like Evan said, I would give it a low C because like not interested, not really paying attention. But if something interesting comes up where they're like, hey, we're gonna offer this or change this reward structure, or whatever, and they can start to pull that TVL back out, then absolutely, I would totally look at it.
Very well said.
Low C.
So then maybe we do Sui, and then we can give out some points, give our picks of the night, final thoughts, and ride our dogs and ponies into the sunset. You want to do a little Sui recapper, Alex?
Yeah. So here, I'll pull this up too. So I've done actually a decent chunk of content about Sui before, just because it was really trendy for a while. Still kind of the sexy new layer one sort of a thing. Decent TVL. You can see where they are on the list there. So they're, what is that? Number 8 on the list.
Yeah,
overall,
look at that trend though for the amount of Sui on there. It's still it's still a concern for me.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but like the llama for
it's
me,
been bugging for me too.
It was bugging for me a little bit right now too.
Okay, that's fair enough then. But yeah, I like overall. What is it? It's a general purpose layer one ecosystem. So direct competitor would be something more like Solana or Ethereum or Avalanche, where it is not trying to nail down any one specific area. And Avalanche kind of comes out of that because, yeah, sure, there's DeFi, but like they're pretty trained on gaming right now. But if you were to compare it to something like Say, for example, which is the one that I always see compared to Sui, even though the only real similarity is that they both start with an S and have an I in their ticker.
Which is honestly big enough to confuse a lot of people.
Honestly is valid because people compare XLM and XRP all the time and they have nothing in common except for the X. So it's the same kind of idea, right?
Also, Bitcoin Cash is just like Bitcoin, but it's cheaper.
Thanks, Richard Hart.
100%. Yeah. Thanks, Rick. So yeah, Say is DeFi focused. Sui is general purpose. They're trying to do all of it. They're doing not a bad job. If you want to, take a higher risk that something could end up like Solana, if it can capture attention and mindshare and all that sort of stuff, that's the risk you're taking with Sui. I would say no red flags for me. Like it's just newer and inherently riskier because it's less proven and it hasn't gone through a bear market. And Solana for me has the ridiculous recovery post FTX debacle back through a bear into the bull, recaptured mindshare, has users, all that sort of stuff. That's kind of the bet that you're taking with this. Inherently risky because it's new, not because it's like sketchy.
What worries me, and part of this is a worm that was planted in my head from Casey Craig, which is
giving her point.
This TVL, and this is Sui, right? This isn't US dollar. The amount of Sui was going down all the way back in September. The price of the token was going up, and yet the amount of the token in TVL was going down. That is not what a healthy ecosystem does. It is, they go in tandem with one another usually. And it makes me worried that something weird was happening at Sui, because it still had a ton of mind share. People still love it, but it made me worried. Granted, it's holding now these levels, so maybe my worry is unfounded, but still, that is very, very weird. It's weird. It's really weird, and it makes me worried.
Well, if I recall last time, oh, sorry, go ahead.
And Casey was like, I think it's a venture capitalist pump and dump. That was essentially what she said. And I was like, based on what I'm seeing here, looks like some venture capitalists took their money out and sold up on a bunch of people. But, if the price stays up, the price stays up, I suppose.
I would be really curious to compare those metrics that you're looking at, Will, to early Solana, because people said the same thing about Sol, VC pump and dump. Centralized,
That's true.
Blah, blah, blah.
And Will, what I was going to say is I feel like last time we talked about Sui, you mentioned Aptos because they're, competitive ecosystems and they have similar use cases. And I think I remember you saying that as Sui's TVO was going down, Aptos was going up, and you
Correct.
thought it might be just a strong competitive success.
Yeah, and Say's was going up too, but Aptos much better. Is let's see if that's still the case. You know, just thinking of coins that are being considered air quotes Solana killers. You know,
Well, and that's kind of the narrative.
only
You know,
reason why we're
Solana
comparing the two.
has solidified itself kind of in a lot of people's minds up there with BTC and ETH as like someone who's proved its use case, has an ecosystem. It's
Yeah,
differentiated itself.
Look, this is impressive to me because here's Apt. Oh wait, that's still my face. Here's my mustache. See, here's Aptos, and this is the amount of Aptos.
And for our friends on
chain.
Facebook and TikTok or Twitter, it looks
It's just
up
straight
and
to the right. It's just up and to the right at
Climbing.
$1 billion. Now it's been sitting at $1 billion US because the price of the token has gone down, as with the market. But it's that is what a healthy, growing, fundamentally strong environment looks like, not what Sui's TVL looks like, which is why I wanted to put that video out there to be like, something weird's happening here, but Aptos is looking strong. And also, cool. I think Aptos is at 1 billion. I think Sui's at 1.5 or 1.6, was it?
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So Aptos is catching up.
Yeah. Well, and that's I'm kind of my
1.9. Sorry,
1.9. Excellent. Thank you. I'm kind of hedging my bets in as Bitcoin's established, ETH is established, Sol is established, and I think people are starting to look at tokens like Sui or Aptos, other networks, as like what will in the infrastructure game establish itself, differentiate itself, and break away from the pack. And I see those tokens as like in a group together. I will be watching them, but I'm not actively investing in any of them. And I don't know, I would probably give Sui at this time a B-. But if the macro outlook improved and it started to look like the next Solana because people were building killer apps there, the devices were catching on, TVL was growing, whatever, I would be ready. It'd probably be on my bear market list to see how it does through the bear market. Same for Aptos. Not buying it now, but I'd look at it.
Let me show you Solana's because this is really cool because you can see the effect of a venture capitalist coin super tied to a centralized exchange, FTX, and how the TVL reacts as compared to when that money is all washed and gone, and it's a much more decentralized platform. This is the amount of Solana, right? Here is the beginning times, the beginning TVL. You can see just how severe it is. Really,
can you describe it for everyone else?
Yeah, it's like mountaintops. Up, slam down, but with a higher low. Up, slam down, but with a higher up, slam down, holding up. Kind of like Bart Simpson's hair. Another peak up, another slam down, and then the FTX debacle and TVL falling off of a cliff for a while. But then look at that, and then afterwards, after the bankruptcy, after the washout, instead of this crazy up and down, just smooth up and to the right, just smooth, like the lake in early morning with no wind, just like glass.
Like if Will shaved his head bald and waxed it.
Sure. Sure.
Okay. Good report. Thank you. What are the grades for you guys for Sui?
I would give it, it has a lot of mind share right now. I am worried about it. I have a hard time putting it in the C range with the worry because it is, I would give it a cautious B-.
I'm totally aligned. And Evan, I would echo what you said, that it's on my list of things to watch and kind of finger crossed for an absolute crater in a bear market. Like get it tested, and then if it cratered at that point, I would probably risk it.
Yeah, if it had a strong ecosystem, devs were building there, they're well capitalized, I would be bumping them up higher on my list.
Because I mean, look at their price action so far. This bull run has been strong as hell. Like on a week like right now where everything is red, they're still up 13% on the 7-day, which is beefy. Not to mention that they've just been climbing since September. Like
hey, you want to know what's also still up on the 7-day?
Are you about to get us banned?
No, I wanted to pop my backs.
Okay, so are we at the point where we think we can give the final grade for not the final grade. What the hell am I saying? I run a show. The pick of the night. We're going to do our pick of the night. So we would love for you.
Radio show.
I know, right? Is this even a talk show? We are going to do the pick of the night. So we'd love to hear what's your pick of the night in the chat. As a reminder, Will's going to throw the board up. We've got Hype. We've got Anon. We've got a couple of Sonic, Alien Base, and Sui. We've only got 5 tokens to wrap up tonight. So think about what your pick of the night is. If it's something else.
I did also the ones that Nathan name dropped that are all in the Hyperliquid ecosystem. I just added some stuff here, just linked them.
And if you missed this, I want to let you know as we're getting ready to give our final grades that you can watch this whole episode back. If you missed us talking about the DOJ's news that they're going to sell some Bitcoin, if you missed us talking with Nathan, you want to catch DeFi Daddy. He had some great thoughts tonight. Really good stuff. It's going to be on our YouTube channel, Faceless Labs. The recording is live there right now. You can find it in the live section of our profile. It'll be the first video. And we're going to be back tomorrow. We will talk about the DOJ. And I got breaking news from Kimberly that we'll need to talk about tomorrow too, which is that apparently Stand With Crypto and others are holding a crypto ball on January 17th. She found out because David Sachs' mother, her old tango teacher, was invited. So guys, we might have to go to Washington, D.C. and try and crash that party.
I will be skiing in Maine.
You will be skiing in Maine, and Alex and I will be scheming about it. I might have to do it on my own. And if it happens, we'll tell you about it. So get in the Discord. This is your last chance if you haven't. It's totally free to join. The links are on the screen. And we will give out points right after final grades because I want to let Will's arms rest. My friend Will, go first. What is your pick of the night?
Just to piss Alex off. Anon. Anon to the moon forever, just like Safe Moon. That was another Ponzi scheme, guys. No, I would choose Hyperliquid because I'm a slut for DeFi, and it just tickles my pickle.
Wow, we really
that is going on the soundboard.
I'm a slut for DeFi, and it just tickles my pickle.
Okay, congratulations, Alex. I'm going to rug you and say my pick of the night was also I'm really torn between Hype and between Anon, and I know I gave Anon a lower grade, but the first thing I am going to look up when I have time to research again is Anon. So it's got to be my pick of the night. I'm going to listen to maybe that interview as I scroll through and try to play with it. I'm going to try and get us on the beta, man, because I have big concerns, but that's the one I'm going to look at. So what about you? What's your pick of the night?
Sorry, hang on. TikTok literally just updated in the middle of me trying to reply to Amsfar's comment, and it was like block, and I was like, what? Why?
Oh, no.
So it just switched the I don't know. Anyway, I don't think I blocked you. You should be.
Erish on TikTok.
No.
Luckily, it's being banned.
For me, it's I will say reservations stand, and my loving critique stands. It's not even a critique. Hyperliquid is my pick of the night, just because I like DeFi. I'm interested in trying it out and using it, and
your tickle is also being tickled. Your pickle is also being tickled.
Yeah, basically, I mean, it's that in a nutshell. The reservation is just, I imagine that something like that could potentially be smaller adoption, in the grand scheme of things, but I also think that that's okay. So not buying it right now, watching it, excited about what they're going to do for the DeFi space because I want to keep watching us move farther and farther up, right? I want to see us keep evolving. This feels like a natural step in the progression of evolution of DeFi protocols. So stoked.
Very cool. Very cool. I am looking for everybody's picks in the chat. Let us know what your pick is, and I will read while you post it. The point totals for the night. Going from least to most, Casey Craig has 1 point. Hyperliquid has 1 point.
Hyperliquid got a point.
AI bot Eliza has 1 point. And Evan had 3 points, which brings us to the top 3. In third place, with a total of 5 points, it's Alex. You're going to get some hyperinflationary points for that. In second place, with 7 points, is our guest Nathan DeFi Daddy, and that means your winner for tonight with 8 points. Point farming and squeaking with one at the last second.
Why does this mean so much to me?
William Watson the fourth.
God, I love that.
Congratulations, Will. You
God, I
are
love
the
that.
winner tonight, man.
I'm
That
about
was
to go
great.
make sweet love to my girlfriend.
Bearish.
That is going on the soundboard also. And I am going to gong you and say, with that, it's time to go around and give a round of final
It's-
thoughts. We're going to be back tomorrow at 7
No,
a.m. Central
Will
Standard
just
Time.
sacrificed his right to final thoughts.
No
Sacri-
gong. There was a gong. I have no final thoughts.
He has no final thoughts. Alex, do you have a final thought?
No, I'm well met. This was
I-
particularly unhinged.
This is particularly unhinged, but it was great to be here with all of you. Thank
That
you for
was
being
good.
the best part of what we do. Jump in the Discord or the Discord, depending on where the link is. It's where the show lives 24/7. If you've got a question for us, you need our help with something, that's the best place to go to get it. And we've got so many resources there. The link to the YouTube channel, our recorded content where we give our thoughts on crypto, classes, coaching, PDF guides, and the best community on crypto, anything, anywhere on this blue planet. So, my friends, thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Be well, stay safe, and until next time.